After this golf, that's what he probably wants. Is Canelo.
How does that fight go down, in your opinion?
So what fight?
How does Terence match up with Canelo?
But be
to this day.
Just payday. You want payday? I know that.
To this day.
How dominant do you feel he would look in that fight with Canelo?
Oh, it'd be Errol Spence and Crawford too.
All over again, yeah.
In a recent interview, Terence Crawford's trainer Bomac was asked about a fight with Canelo Alvarez, okay? And his response was a very quick and swift. Terence Crawford kicks his ass, and basically he says that Terence Crawford would outbox him, okay? He says Terence Crawford will outbox Canelo Alvarez, and that it'll basically be pretty much the same thing as when he fought Errol Spence. He basically says that Terence Crawford whoops Canelo Alvarez the same way he whooped Errol Spence Jr. And in this video, I kind of want to talk about what the things that Bomac said. It's an interview with Fight Hub TV. I might play a little clip in here, or it just depends on how the whole video comes out. But you guys can head on over to their channel and check it out. But you know, I want to give my thoughts on what he basically said and just the whole situation surrounding that. We understand that a lot of fighters right now and always have been, you know, reaching out, you know, trying to get the Canelo fight. We seen David Benavidez trying to get it. We saw the Charlo brothers, in which one got the fight and lost pretty terribly. Didn't look like he really tried, but we've seen a lot of fighters trying to press for that Canelo fight, because obviously it's a big money fight. It's a big recognition type of fight, and you can really, you know, elevate your legacy off of a guy like Canelo, right? So in this particular interview, when he was asked about, you know, the Canelo situation, Bomac, confidently as he usually does, was basically saying that, you know, he'll basically take away Canelo's power, okay, and he'll outbox Canelo, okay. And when the reporter was basically asking him how he'll do that, he was basically going into the fact that there's many ways you could take away a fighter's power, and basically one of which is timing, okay. So he's very confident that, you know, Crawford can move up and fight Canelo and win that fight. Now, before I even really get into what I think about the situation, I want to start off by saying that I definitely do not want to count out Terence Crawford in a fight like this, because Terence Crawford has proven to people time and time again that some way, somehow, he knows how to win, okay? He knows how to find a way to outsmart fighters, to, you know, outbox fighters, to trick fighters, switch hit. He's found so many different avenues in which he can win fights. So I never want to count Terence Crawford out, okay? That's the first thing, and we'll get into how we feel and, you know, talk about how the thing will play out. But the first problem I see here, if Terence Crawford was to ever get in there with Canelo Alvarez, is that we know Canelo has fought as high as 175, okay? He was a middleweight for a while, and then he, you know, bounced around 168, things of that nature. You know, he went all the way up, fought Kovalev, he fought Dmitry Bivol in a fight which he lost. But Canelo Alvarez is very seasoned moving through the higher weight classes, and he's shown to really, you know, do a good job depending on the fighter, okay? We've seen Canelo put some good stuff together in the ring versus some of these bigger fighters. Now, we know Bivol took care of business. Kovalev, it looked like Kovalev kind of took a dive a little bit on that one, but he definitely displayed some good talent at the higher weight classes. So that's the first obstacle I see with Terence Crawford, is that he'll have issues with such a, you know, stronger fighter, you know, such a guy that's so active like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is very active fighter, okay? He's very power puncher, you know what I'm saying? His hooks is very powerful. He's quick. He got, you know, he's slow-footed a little bit, but he knows how to move around and cut the ring off from time to time. So that could be a thing, you know what I'm saying? Canelo definitely, with his power and his strength advantage, could be a problem for Terence Crawford. Okay, we know Crawford is, recently moved to 147, had a few fights there. But before that, he was at 140 pounds and things of that nature. So he'll definitely be the much lighter fighter, the smaller fighter as far as, frame wise. Okay, I'm not sure who's taller. I'm pretty sure they're around the same height. Crawford may have him by an inch or two. I'm not sure. But as far as the frame goes, Canelo Alvarez is a much bigger frame than Terence Crawford. I don't care how much Terence Crawford tries to bulk up for that fight and prove to everybody he's big. Naturally, he's a smaller guy than Canelo Alvarez. Okay, that's first. So he'll have issues with that type of thing. Now, I know Terence Crawford is a good fighter. I know he's very skilled. He knows how to fight both stances. We know Terence Crawford knows how to he's very smart in the ring. Okay, he's well coached. He understands how to download what the other fighter is doing and make adjustments. Okay, so Terence Crawford always makes adjustments that what's needed throughout the fight, and he knows how to fight off the back foot. Okay, he knows how to fight coming forward. He knows how to fight going backwards. So I give Terence Crawford that credit. So I understand he probably could give Canelo Alvarez some fits, but I just think Canelo, man, being such a bigger fighter, being such a confident fighter, knowing who he is, knowing what he's been through, the amount of fighters he's been in there with, just how seasoned he is. And that's not to say Terence Crawford is not seasoned, but I think with everything being considered, I think Canelo could just kind of be too much for Crawford, in my personal opinion. Now that still remains to be seen, but when it comes to what Bomac was talking about, you got to understand that Bomac believes in his fighter. You know what I'm saying? He really believes in Crawford. I think their whole team understands that anybody Crawford get in there with, he has a good chance. His upbringing with his mom and everything. Terence Crawford, supposedly never really lost a fight like that. He would always whoop anybody he was in there with. So he believes in his abilities to fight. And, who am I to disagree with that? But the only thing I would say is, before I move on to my next point, is that, Terence Crawford, although he's a good fighter, he hasn't seen the type of competition that Canelo Alvarez has seen. Okay, so there's that skill gap when it comes to competition, opposed competition, that I think you got to give that edge to Canelo Alvarez. Now, another thing you got to deal with when fighting Canelo, you're not just fighting Canelo, you fighting politics. You fighting the boxing politics. You fighting the judges. You fighting the crowd. Okay, and you also fighting just the entire stage of it. Fighting on Cinco de Mayo or September 16th. You just pretty much coming into Canelo's domain. So that's one thing that could be a different element for Terence Crawford. But we've seen Canelo get in there with a lot of fighters and really just get the benefit of the doubt on the cards. Okay. The famous one everybody know about is when he fought Floyd Mayweather. He pretty much got whooped every round, and they still gave, one of the judges still gave it to Canelo. All right. When he fought Triple G in the first fight, we seen the Adelaide Bird lady gave, she gave Canelo, I think it was 118, 111, a crazy wide margin where the fight was extremely close, and a lot of people thought Triple G won. In my personal opinion, Triple G beat Canelo in that first fight. I know a lot of people, thought it should have been a draw, and they thought this and that. But at the end of the day, me watching that fight, scoring it the way I had it, I think Triple G won that fight. So, if I'm Crawford going into that fight, just like many others, you have to be concerned about the judges. You have to be concerned about the politics, what's going on behind closed doors. We know boxing is one of the most corrupt sports there is, if not the most corrupt. So you have to have, that into consideration. You would have to be going into this fight with Canelo, not looking to go the distance. You would have to be going into this fight looking to knock him out at some point or break him down enough to where you can stop Canelo. And that's just one of them situations that I don't think we've seen yet. So, every single punch Canelo throws, whether it lands or it lands on the block, it lands on your arms, on your shoulders, anywhere. If you block his punches, it doesn't matter. Anything Canelo throws, the crowd is going to go crazy. He's going to have the Mexican fan base on his side. The arena is going to be full. And, you know, that could be a thing that sways the judges as well. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just a lot of stuff stacked against fighters when they come against Canelo Alvarez. Like I said, I don't count Crawford out. Like I said, I believe in Crawford. I think he's a heck of a fighter. I think he, you know, he can stand the test of anything. You know, I believe he can. I think he got a good coaching staff. You know, that's one of the things that Bomac talked about as well, is that, you know, they'll come together, the coaches, and they'll have a good game plan for Crawford. Okay. I mean, you know, they'll be able to put something together for him. So, in my personal opinion, I think, you know, I think his team is a good team. I think Bomac is a good team, but they will have a lot of stuff stacked against them in that fight if that fight was to ever get made. And I just think I see it like that. It's something else I was thinking about saying here that slipped my mind here. But we'll try to put some of the video, or we'll just put a link in the description to the video if you guys haven't seen the interview yet. That's pretty much my thoughts on this. You know, Bomac said he think Crawford can whoop him. And he said that it'll pretty much be just like the Errol Spence fight, that he'll pretty much take away what Canelo's able to do, and he'll pretty much win that fight convincingly, man. Y'all let me know down in the comment section. Do y'all agree with Bomac, or do you guys think Bomac is just trying to get a payday? Do y'all think he's just trying to get a payday and he don't got no chance? We know Canelo is going to be fighting Jaime Munguia, so we're going to be tuned in for that. We're going to be covering that fight and talking about it. Really appreciate everybody for checking into the channel. Much love, peace, and blessings. This your boy Get a Mic. This is Jim Boxing, and I'll be back with more content. Make sure y'all smash that like button if you made it this far. Peace out, y'all.